Father, in Jesus' name, please forgive and bless everybody. This is Angelo Quinones, and you reach I Am Ministries. I Am Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. So, I have tremendous pain on my right, actually on my left toe, sort of big toe, and then that rounded area, the ball area of the toe, not exactly the toe, but the sort of a little bit where it connects, I guess, the toe bone connected to the foot bone. That hurts like crazy. So it's difficult to sort of concentrate a little bit, and also I'm using the magnifying glass because I'm visually impaired, but we'll get through it, right? Because we just prayed. And so what this ministry does is goes against the witnesses' teachings of that Jesus was some sort of a spirit, after his resurrection. Okay, it's contradiction just in the word. Okay, he will rise again. Well, again means, okay, and according to Luke chapter 24, that same body had to be raised up. Okay, again, another time. The same one. Okay, if I lay down and get up again, okay, well then then that means that I was up with the same body to begin with, and I lay down and I'm getting up again. The word again is very key. We might see that in this study or in another study. Okay, that's very key. Also, what's key is a word that I'm going to be looking in this very gospel, chapter 2, around verse 19. Okay, we're going to look at the word "it" in the Greek, and it refers back to the antecedent temple. Okay, so that "it" is very important. Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up again. Like Norman Geisler said, he didn't say I will raise up another body, or I will raise up my spirit again, or something like that, something different than the body that he initially had as a birthday suit. Okay, we're going to look at that. So this is going to be having to do with the bodily resurrection of Jesus. Anastasis is the Greek word for resurrection. We'll even look at the Hebrew word for resurrection according to the Hebrew New Testament. Well, let's check out this verse for now. And it talks about two people running to the tomb. Okay, so let's get there. Let's go to verse 3. So Peter and the other disciple, and that's John, the evangelist. Okay, the other disciple started for the tomb. Okay. And verse 4 says, but the other disciple, meaning John, okay, outran Peter and reached the tomb first. Okay. Now verse 5, it says over here, he bent over and looked in at the strips of linen lying there, but did not go in. So John didn't go in, okay, even though he got there first. Okay, verse 6. Then Simon Peter came along behind him and went straight into the tomb. He saw the strips of linen lying there. Okay, now verse 7. As well as the cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus' head. And the cloth was still lying in its place. Okay, and we're going to look at some other translations to check this out. Well, obviously you have the story from this gospel, okay, account of the resurrection. There are 4 gospel accounts of the resurrection. Okay, you have the gospel kata Matthew chapter 28, the gospel kata Mark chapter 16, the gospel kata Luke chapter 24, And then the Gospel Kata Ioannin, which this one is chapter 20. And chapter 21 also has to do with the risen Christ. But I mean, this is the main vein chapter of the resurrection. Now, out of three of those, okay, you can clone other verses for yourself to remember. What am I talking about? Well, I already mentioned the chapters of the canonic Gospels, okay? Matthew chapter 28, and Mark chapter 16, and Luke chapter 24. All of them in verse 6 says, he is risen, end quote. It's only when you get to this gospel that it's in chapter 20 and not chapter 21, the last chapter, in verse 6. So chapter 20 and verse 9, actually, I should say, rather, has, quote, he is risen, end quote. Okay, so John has it in the second to last chapter, that quotation, and verse 9 instead of verse 6. But at least we could clone, 3 out of the 4 Gospels and last chapter, verse 6, and so you could remember it, so you can find it very easily. Okay, now that's not the only place. Those are not the only places that it says that Jesus was risen from the dead. Okay, I mean, look at, Matthew chapter 16 and, other verses that that predicted the resurrection of Jesus, the anastasis of Jesus, of Yesu. And so you see that peppered around chapter 24 of the Gospel Kata Lukan. So, and also, I mean, you see it in chapter 2 of Praxis Apostolorum, Acts of the Apostles. And, I mean, you see it sprinkled all over the place. And you have that masterful work, okay, by the Holy Spirit through the Apostle Paul to cap it all off, okay, in a great way. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, it talks about Jesus' resurrection, okay. You also have a prophecy, according to chapter 2, around verse 19, saying that destroy this temple and in 3 days I will raise it up again. The it is very key there, like Norman Geisler said, like I said before, because it doesn't look forward to another body being raised up or the spirit being raised up. Is a prophecy of that very same body that Jesus walked around, Galilee and the other places that he walked upon. That body was going to be raised from the dead, okay? From the necron, the dead. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's very key. Now, we're going to look at the full Greek construction of this, because this seems like the grave clothes were disturbed. They were disturbed. Now, if Jesus, had a phantom body, a non-body, and incidentally, you can't depend on verse 12 as a JW, as a Jehovah's Witness, verse 16, to actually try to prove that Jesus came in another form. Okay, that's probably Marphe there in the Greek. Let's check that out. That's not according to the most ancient authorities. Okay, you see that in the commentary of the Greek New Testament by Bruce and Metzger. And also you see that see the variant readings in a work edited and arranged by Reuben Swanson. And the title of the volume is John, of course, and you have the Greek there on the page, okay, on the pages. So you have to you have to know how to read the language. And you have variant readings, okay, of each verse of the Gospel of Mark, I should say. I don't know if I said John, but Mark in this instance, because I'm talking about verse 12 of chapter 16. And you see the variant readings according to that, okay. So, I mean, obviously, according to the most ancient authorities, okay, that wasn't there, okay. That's an inclusion that came later. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just it. So let's go there anyway. And the Greek word that we're going to find there for form is morphe. If you include that verse 12 of chapter 16 of the Gospel Kata Markon, the Greek word morphe for form or shape or even nature appears only 3 times in the Greek New Testament. Okay, and that's collaborated by Bill Mounds in his volume entitled, a lexicon entitled Mounds' Complete Expository Dictionary of Old and New Testament Words, which is more complete than Vine's. Okay, it's much more complete. According to the Hebrew side of things, and just I believe more Greek words also, but especially the Hebrew side of things is much more complete than vines. It says complete, but it's not complete, vines. But vines, when you get to, easels or something like that equal, you have a masterful work that Mounce doesn't have. But yet, Mounce in his lexicon has a great treatise on the Tetragrammaton that Vines doesn't have. Okay? So, one hand shakes the other and iron sharpens iron, you know what I mean? Now, let's go to Mark's Gospel and let's check out that. Because you know that JWs are going to use, okay, that chapter and verse. Mark from Missouri didn't use it because he says he's a serious student of the Word of God, being a JW, but a researcher, a Berean, you know what I'm saying, or whatever you want to call him, philosopher. And he had an asterisk in his notes as a JW according to this verse. And jata. Now, we all know that after verse 9, okay, all those verses that come after, okay, all right, and we're going to see them here. Let's go to chapter 16. We'll see how many verses there are according to, the later sort of version of chapter 16. And you see that this goes all the way to 20. So after verse 9, you have 11 verses that weren't in the original, okay, autographa or autograph, okay. Now, we don't have the originals, but we go by the most ancient authorities, okay, the best copies, okay, of the Gospel of Mark. Now, if we go to verse 12 here, it says something like this, that the Jehovah's Witnesses are going to use. Okay, let me just hit this over there. And I'll read this. It says, afterward, okay, Jesus, Jesus in the Greek, nominative case construction, no doubt, appeared in a different form to two of them. Okay, to two of them while they were walking in the country. Okay, so it says over here that he appeared in a different form. So they use this. Now, some JWs don't use it, just like I don't use 1 Timothy as a Trinitarian. Okay, all right, the Trinitarian formula. I believe in the Trinity, but you can't, if you know about the manuscript evidence, you can't use the formula found and recorded. Okay, all right. I believe in chapter 5 of chapter 5 verses 7 and 8. Of 1 John. I just don't use the formula. Why? Well, it's just going to come up in an argument that wasn't according to the most ancient authorities. So I can't be a hypocrite and a fraud and say, well, the Trinity is found in verses 7 and 8, chapter 5 of 1 John, and then say the same thing to them. Well, that they're going to say to me, well, Mark chapter 16, verse 12 is not found in the most ancient authorities. It doesn't go like that, though. That's hypocrisy. Okay, so I don't use it. I don't also use, okay, sometimes, though, because this is very strong stuff right here. The the argument of the King James's version of verse 16 of chapter 3 of 1 Timothy. God appeared in the flesh, or God was manifest in the flesh. I don't use it for the most part. Now, when I use has there, a relative pronoun in the nominative case construction, okay, it refers back to an antecedent. The antecedent, the only possible antecedent of has is theou. Appears 2 times there, including the living God. Okay, the church of the living God. You know what I mean? So theou is there twice anyway. So has, refers to the antecedent theou anyway. It doesn't make a difference. It's heads, I win, tails, you lose. Doesn't really make a difference if it's he or God. Okay? So, I mean, if I use it, then I explain that, so what? The antecedent is the anyway. So, has is really, there as a pronoun, replacing the monotony of writing theos again. This is like saying, like, Angelo got up from bed, and then Angelo brushed his teeth and took a bath, and then Angelo went outside and went someplace, and then Angelo returned back home, and Angelo took another bath and brushed his teeth, and Angelo went to sleep. It's too much repetition there. Angelo got up from bed, and he brushed his teeth and took a bath. You know what I'm saying? It's something like that to break up the monotony, says Julius R. Manti in his a great manual, along with Dana, a manual grammar of the Greek New Testament. Okay, that's what the pronoun was invented for. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? It refers back to an antecedent. But over here it says afterward, Jesus appeared in a different form. Now let's look at the Greek there. Okay, let's look at the Greek. And let's get here. I didn't know that goes sideways, though. That's kind of, I wish I could just stay there, because I like this better sideways, you know. So, Markon, let's check that out. Actually, that'll be kappa what? Iota, though. No, iota, actually. Kappa will be in the 20s. So, that's iota epsilon. Okay, and then we could just scroll all the way down to verse 12, and this will have it because this is according to the Byzantine text farm. No pun intended, right? Okay, so actually I passed it though. I actually doing the same mistake that Mounds has. He has it in verse 14, his lexicon. I don't know why. It's actually in verse 12. That's why I went to verse 14. It's sort of a knee-jerk reaction to his lexicon. That's a typo there. Okay, that should be corrected. It is actually verse 12, not verse 14, like his lexicon has. But anyway, it says over here, ha, and then a postpositive de. Okay, no, wait a minute. This is not. No, wait for a second, guys. Sorry about that. This pilot is not even in verse. Wait for a second here. Here it goes right here. It has to be this one, okay? Pilot. I mean, Pilot's not even near chapter 16. I mean, he's in, chapter 23, the upper chapters of Luke. Somebody begged the body of Jesus as the Pilate, so... All right, so this has to be it right here. Meta de tauta. Okay, and that's not, what is going on here? Okay, wait for a second here. This is marked though. And let me see something, guys. Wait for a second here. Let me see. Okay, so this is the last chapter. Let me just continue to read, though. It might be an addition there. That's verse 13. So let me see, because maybe it's in verse... I was saying, maybe it is in verse 14 over here, according to this ancient authority. But it's not. Let's just wait for a second over here, okay? Let's see what's the problem. Okay, meta de tauta dusin ex auton there. Peripatusin. Okay, this is a peer right over here. Efanonese en hetera marfe. Okay, there's a, so I was looking for, let me see, for Jesus' name there, and then you don't get it. You don't really get it though. You don't get Jesus' name over here though. I was looking for the nominative actually in the beginning of the sentence, okay, and I didn't see it, and I should know better. So, meta de tauta, okay, dusin ex auton peripatusen Efanerose, okay, efanerose, and different is hetera, and that's in the dative case, okay. No article in the middle of that prepositional phrase. Marphe. And you see the dative, and that's the same construction found and recorded in verse 6 of chapter 2. I have a blister in my tongue, by the way. In verse 2 of Philippians. Okay, same construction. Actually, the other construction that appears in the Greek New Testament is marphein in the accusative case construction in verse 7. Okay, he took the form of a doulo, of a slave. But you see, it says here in a different form. Okay, hetera. Okay, hetera marphe. A different form. Well, I already told you that this doesn't appear according to the most ancient authority, so you can't use it. And Mark from Missouri actually agreed. And he didn't even use it in our debate, which is called the Anastasis debate series, because there's so many debates that we had on the resurrection, of our own resurrection, what kind of body that's going to be, and the resurrection of our blessed Lord. Okay, so you can't use this. So that's gone. You cannot use this verse. I mean, this is according to late text. You understand what I mean? You can't. So that's gone, and he knew it. So he had an asterisk in his notes. Okay, according to this, so he couldn't even use it in a debate. So that's just the deal. Now, but let's get back to our original text over here. Okay, let me see if this is our original text over here. And this is Mark chapter. Actually, that's not the original text, though. Let me see here. Okay, so actually, now let's go to John's Gospel. Okay, John's Gospel. Let me see what it is. And man, it's hard to do a study with a bum toe. Okay, you look at verses like 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and when it says that if one member of the body suffers, the other members suffer along with it. Man, you really remember that. Not the verse, but at least the saying in the chapter, because it hurts. It hurts like crazy. That's for sure. John chapter 20 and verse, what was that? Let's go to verse 4. Actually, verse 5, because verse 4 tells you about the running and, who got there first. Actually, it's no surprise to me. Look how consistent the Bible is that Peter actually went in. He was the most daring of all the disciples. He's the one he's the first one off the boat, okay, bidding Jesus, telling Jesus, if it's you, Lord, okay, bid me to come. And he said, come. And he walked upon the water. The first man, okay, apart from the Lord, to ever walk upon water was Peter. He sunk, but he was the most daring of the apostles. And it's very consistent. It's very consistent. Now, probably, John didn't go all the way in because he stood outside weeping just like Mary did. Probably that's what it was, okay? The disciple who Jesus loved, they had a very deep relationship. I guess that's the Greek P, and so who the one that people call a pie, but anyway. So I mean that's why probably he didn't go outside, because he was just weeping outside. Who knows? You know what I mean? He didn't want to go inside. Right? He didn't dare to look. You understand what I'm saying? Now, so I mean verses 3 and 4 talk about that, but verse 5 says he beat. It's the same thing basically. He beat. He bent. Okay, over. He bent over and looked in at the strips of linen lying there. The strips of linen lying there. Okay, that was just lying there. Where Jesus' body was. Okay. But it says over here, did not go in. Now it says over here, then Simon, okay, Peter, okay, came along behind him, and Peter was a burly guy, was a big guy. He took all that fish and stuff like that. Probably was slower, older. He was one of the most older apostles, you know what I mean? And came along behind him. Came along behind him and went straight into, okay, the tomb. He went, not a memorial tomb, it says. This is a memorial tomb. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me that what is it, 8 or whatever the case is, Don't give me that. It doesn't say memorial tomb, by the way. You understand what I'm saying? They add these words, Jehovah's Witnesses, to actually, try to prove their doctrine. Like union and other, and you look, for example, in Vine's Complete Expository Dictionary, of all the New Testament words, 7 Greek words for other that doesn't even appear, I shouldn't say near, but in verses 16 and 17 of chapter 1 of Colossians. 5 is the list in Mouse's lexicon, okay? Heteros, Alelon, Heis, Loipos, I think, something like that, They have a whole bunch of Greek words that mean other, according to Vines, okay? You understand what I mean? None appear there. And so they do these things, But this is not the New World Translation, so we don't have to worry about that. It says, then Simon Peter says over here, came along behind him, meaning behind the Apostle John, and went straight into the tomb. Now, he saw the strips of linen lying there. Now, let's check out verse 7. Now, it says over here, as well as the cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus' head. Probably Rosh in Hebrew over there. Resh, Rosh, head. The cloth was kephales in Greek, no doubt. The cloth was still lying in its place. Now let's check out several other translations. Okay, let's check this out. Okay, let's check out the King James and then the NIV, kissing cousins as they are, right? Okay, just in case you're a King James only advocate, or you can't go up against the witnesses just with the King James. You can't, and be completely successful. I said completely. You can't be successful, not completely successful, like somebody that uses NIV. Why? Well, Jesus' name is found more in the NIV by a count of 1,241 to 971. I don't know if you ever knew that. Okay? The Greek word Jesus in its various forms, no pun intended, Jesus, Yesu, Yesu, Yesun, all in the singular. Two forms for one form for 2 different cases, the dative and the genitive, the case of interest, the dative. And so that appears 917 times. So the NIV has it at 1,241 times. That's 270 times more that the word Jesus appears, the name Jesus appears in the NIV more than the King James. That's food for thought. That means that you guys were deceived. Also like the tower, the people at the tower the dear people at the tower are being deceived by their cult leaders, okay? Nothing different. If you're in a cult, you're in a cult. It doesn't make a difference if it's a so-called evangelical sort of base cult or whatever the case may be. I'm an evangelical, by the way, and I say that. Okay? All right, so let's go to John's Gospel, okay? That's Habakkuk, though. And let's go to John, okay? John chapter 20. Let's go to chapter 20. Okay. John chapter 20, and so let's go all the way, scroll to the King James. Oh, it's not even that far. What am I doing though? It's not that far though. Not that far off. I'm so used to going really far, and these discussions with the witnesses and stuff like that, but I don't have to go that far now. Okay, so let's see this here. They're around verse 6. Okay, let's check that out. The first two are the sepulcher. So sepulcher over here. Let's swoop down and looking, okay, and looking. This is John's action. And looking in saw the linen clothes lying, yet went he not in. And probably you have u there in the Greek, okay, for the indicative, you know. And verse 6 it says, then cometh Simon Peter, okay, following him, and went into the tomb, or the sepulcher. It says over here, okay, in King James, in the sepulcher, and seeth, okay, the linen clothes lie. Verse 7. And the napkin that was about his head, not lying with the linen. Okay, not lying with the linen. Okay, clothes. But wrapped. Okay, we have to check this out. But wrapped together. But wrapped together in its place by itself. So this is really talking about disturbed clothes. Okay, the napkin, I mean, was in its place. I mean, it was wrapped. Who wrapped it? Okay, that's the key. Who wrapped these things? And in order to wrap something, you need hands. Okay, so you needed a body. You needed a soma. Okay, you needed a soma, Greek word for body. Flesh is the Greek word sarx. So actually, sark. That's the root of sarx, right? Sark. Okay. Genitive is sarx. You know, actually, right? Sarkos, I think, something like that, right? So look at the genitive there. So the thing is sarky, you know, like that, and all that other good stuff. Sarksy, I mean, you know. So, who wrapped this stuff up? If a human body wasn't involved, Jesus still had a body. This is a proof right here, proof text, that these grave clothes were disturbed. Okay, they were disturbed. Let's look at the NIV though. Let's look at the NIV. So verse 7 is the key here. Okay, verse 7 is the key. All right, that's verse 2, and that's just it. So verse 5. And that's just it. Saw the strips lying there, the clove that had been says over here, wrapped around Jesus' head. And it says the cloth was still lying in its place, separate from the linen. Why is it separate? Why is it separate from the linen? I mean, what is it? It looks like disturbed clothes to me. Okay, disturbed clothes. That was disturbed. Now, if it was a phantom body that Jesus had, you can't be inconsistent. You can't say that he materialized a body, okay, and then that God took the body. Okay. Well, which one is it? Well, I mean, if God took the body, then Jesus would have had another body, but you can't say that he was risen again. Because that body never stood up to begin with, the second body. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't say that was risen again from the dead. And you see again all over the place, okay, in the Gospel of Lucan, chapter 24, that he will have to rise again. Again, that's the key. Again, it also being the key in chapter 2 of John's Gospel, referring back to the antecedent temple. Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise up another one. It doesn't say that. And destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise up my spirit, or the spirit will be raised up of me. Does it say that? It doesn't say that. Now, you wanted to say that. Just like you want John chapter 1, verse 1 to say as a witness, okay? Enarche epoyes en hate astan lagan. That's what you wanted to say. Okay? But it doesn't say that. It doesn't say, in the beginning, God created the Logos. It doesn't say that anywhere in the Bible. Even enarche egenita ha logos. In the beginning, the word emerged, or something like that. Whatever the case may be. You understand what I'm saying? Or even enarche en ha huias, enarche en ha angelos, or enarche en ha Michael. I mean, you know, it's just, it doesn't say those things. You wanted to say that, but it doesn't say it. Even in the Hebrew New Testament, okay, right, Bereshit, bara Elohim hadabar. It doesn't say that. In the beginning, God created the what? The bar, okay, is word in Hebrew, okay? Same word recorded around Psalm 33 verse 6, and the Greek Septuagint is actually tolago, actually the dative case, dative singular masculine construction. You know what I'm saying? And actually it's in Psalm 32, actually verse 6 in the Greek Septuagint. You know that about logos creating all things, and also the breath of God, you know, the spirit. Actually, pneumati, I think is the Greek there. Pneumati in the dative case. Same construction found and recorded around verse 19 of chapter 3 of 1 Peter. He was raised, okay, by the Spirit. Could be very well by the Spirit also. In the Spirit, so what? Okay. All right, that's just the deal. So, but look at this. These clothes, all these things. Okay, I mean, were there. They weren't. Now, someone may say to me, "Now, this is what Mark said. Now, was he going around naked?" Well, first of all, Peter was naked. It says that in chapter 21. I think it says that in chapter 21, right? In this gospel, he was naked and he put on his coat to swim to the Lord. Because they saw that you know, they were fishing, and they saw that Jesus was cooking at the beach, so he was naked and put on his coat, his fisherman's coat. It says over there. You know what I'm saying? In chapter 20, also Isaiah walked around naked. You understand what I'm saying? In Isaiah, so because of the sins of the people, okay, God said you are to walk around naked. He walked around naked. I think for several years. Okay, I gotta check that out again. Okay, so those two people walked naked in the Bible, a holy people of God. Yeah, Peter, and you know, chapter 21. I think it's chapter 21 of this gospel, and Isaiah walked around naked, and Adam was obviously naked when he was formed and created. You understand what I mean? He was actually naked though, and then the light went off. Dr. Barnhouse said, you know what I mean? Okay, they were clothed in light. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Initially, and they were both naked, but they felt no shame. That's what it says. Doesn't it say that in around what, verse 24 or 25 of Genesis chapter 20? Okay, chapter 20, chapter 2. So those two were naked. Peter was naked, and then Isaiah was naked. You got 4 people there when they're naked, walking around. So why can't Jesus be naked walking around? It was dark anyway. Nobody can see. You understand what I'm saying? What do you want him to do? You want him to put those strips of linen on like a mummy and walk around like a mummy? What do you want him to do? Tie the napkin that he had around his head and place it, you know. So you want what, like a apron or something like that? That's what you want him to do? I'm just saying. Let's look at the Greek, okay? Let's check out the Greek in this part 1 of this series, Anastasis, and we'll get into our own resurrection. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, we're not annihilated. The soul is not destroyed, and so we're taking a detour. Actually, we started that Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 4 argument that the witnesses present to us. Very, very lazy argument. Okay, very lazy. So let's go to the Greek. You understand what I mean? Let's go here. Okay. Now let's get here. Let's use this app right here. There's a Greek interlinear. And actually, I'm way off base here. So, let's go to verse, actually 6 and 7 tells you about the clothes, okay? And the napkin and the shroud, you know. So, that's it right here. Okay? What to God? Where are those clothes? They have to be someplace, you know what I mean? Or maybe they just disintegrated. I mean, you know, probably it would have been worshipped as forms of idolatry, you know, no doubt. So, I mean, you know, who knows? Says over here comes, okay, where's the Greek over here? Okay, erchetai. Erchetai comes, then, okay, it says over here, also Greek word kai, conjunction, Simon, no article there. Okay, the Simon. Listen, just because this Greek noun is an article doesn't mean it's not definite. And that's what Dan Wallace said about the article, okay? It doesn't need to be, okay, in front of a noun and make it, okay, all right, definite. There are 10 different ways, says Dan Wallace, that a Greek noun could be definite without an article. And this is one of the 10 examples. The other 2 examples that he spoke about, okay, that I'm going to give you, is found and recorded in John 1:1a and c. The prepositional phrase in arche, no article, te. It would be te. Test the witnesses. They wouldn't know, okay, if it fell on them. And then the predicate adjective theos without an article is another, okay, example. Okay, and they have numbers and things like that, and you know. So Simon, it says over here, actually, Simon. Actually, it's a different spelling in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 1, though. Isn't it Sumeon or something like that? I have to check that out. Sumon, you know, I have Sumon, something like that. This is like a different construction, but anyway. And it says over here, Petros, following. Okay, that's a participle, following there. Okay, see the omega and the nu there? Following there. Participial construction of following. It says over here, akaluthon, okay, following him, okay, auto, following him auto, in the dative case. Auto, dative singular masculine, as a matter of fact, and okay, he entered. Okay, he entered though. Now that's Ethesten, very hard to say. Esel, then, okay, spelled out epsilon, iota, sigma, eta, now they call eta, lambda, theta, now they call theta, epsilon, now nu, now they call ni, okay. Into, that's ace, that's one of like 17 small prepositions in the manual grammar of the Greek New Testament listed by Dana and Mansi. The tum. So you know that tum is a neuter word because of the ta there. Okay, that's a singular neuter article, you know. And that's accusative. It's the same construction for the nominative, as a matter of fact, though, just like ta in the article plural part of the paradigm. And the plural part of paradigm, ta with an alpha, is same construction for both accusative and nominative. But this is a singular article, ta, in the neuter, and says the memorial tomb. Does it say it? Does it say it? Don't give me no mu, nu, and eta. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. I don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? It says over there. It says over here, ta, and then the word for tomb is let me see, menemeon. I just pronounced the mu like a m, and then just not like that menet. That's all. Menemeon. Okay. Menemeon. Tomb. And Greek word kai sees. Okay. Theore. 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 Okay. And theore and sees. Okay, and that's ta, and that's actually in that ta, that alpha there, that's plural. Just like Esau is making equal plural. In I think it's like what chapter 21, verse around 16 or 17 of Revelation, and then you have the plural form of Esau's or Esau's in verse 6 of chapter 2 of Philippians. It's you know, it's. I'm saying that the alpha is making that plural, the article plural, in the plural. So that's ta. It says linen strips. Okay, linen cloths. Okay, cloths. The alpha there again. Okay, Athania. Okay. Linens, cloths in the plural, Athania, okay? Lying, it says, it's just there, it's not there, lying is, it says, kemeon, or kemena, actually. Kemena, lying, okay? And let me just look at verse 7 now, right? And Greek word kai, the ta, singular. Okay, says over here, and says over here, Sudarian. Okay, and that's and this is like a transliteration of the Greek. Oh, what's this over here? Sudarian, okay, and that's sigma, omicron, upsilon, nowadays called epsilon, delta, alpha, rho, iota, omicron, and nu, which, and that's how that's a relative pronoun in the neuter side. It looks like an article, doesn't it, though? But the Grav is telling you that's a relative pronoun, not an article. Even though articles are weak demonstratives, was, and that's ain, was upon, okay, epi, that's another preposition, okay, and that's taste as a genitive, feminine, singular article, head, kephales, there you go, kephales, okay, of him, autu, from the autos paradigm, autos, autu, auto, auton, like that. Singular part of paradigm, not okay, with or meta. That's another preposition. The, and that's stone, and that's in the plural. Ton. You know the deal. Ton linen cloths. Okay, ha, tha, neon. Okay, lying, and that's kemeon. Lying. But, and that's Allah, by itself. That's a very strong word, but. It's a very strong word in Greek, though. That's not just a regular, that's not a regular conjunction, if you will. This is not kai, and lying about, this is not, but. Alpha, lambda, alpha. This word, if it was in John 1:1c, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, but the Word wasn't God. That would be very, 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 very poignant. But that's not there. That's one of the words that's not there. Okay, that would support the witnesses, if it was there, claim that Jesus is not deity. Also, Tina is not there, as a matter of fact. Okay, all right. Anas, Mia, and Anna are not there, okay, and all the other constructions, okay, for the indefinite article that appear in modern Greek and not in biblical Greek, okay? So a whole bunch of stuff, you know, ageneto is not there, epoiesin is not there in a creative sense, you know, okay, that's not there. So it's not there. Now, there's more here, but Allah, it says by itself. By itself. Okay. Chores. By itself. Okay, by itself. Having been, okay, folding. Look at this. Having been folding, it says over here, up in, look at this. In, having folded up in. Okay. Now, wait a minute. In a, let me see if I can find another. There has to be another line here, right? Place. Look at that. Having, okay, it says over here, ente to le, says over here, I'm using the magnifying glass, guys, and it's foggy. Ente to ligmenon, okay, having been folded, okay, and that's in a perfect tense, though, a perfect tense. Up in, and that's ace. Anna, Hannah, actually, Hannah. Hello. Let me get it. Yeah. Is somebody saying hello here? Oh. You got it?
No, that's not fine.
Oh, it's not. It's okay. Okay. We have a little store. I thought my wife was in here. We have a little tiny store stand in the house. So I was just sorry about that, guys. And I couldn't get up because it's a lot of pain. Too much. I couldn't get up easily. Oh, that's painful, guys. Where was I at? Let me see where was I at here. Having been folded. Okay, having been folded up in. Okay, all right. A, and that's Hannah. Okay. In a Hannah. In a and Hannah is as an adjective there. It says place, and that's tapon, place. Okay. Now, having been folding, I mean, so who folded it? You see? Now, let's go to the videotape again. Let's rewind the tape. Let's check this out. Because when they saw this, they knew that Jesus folded it. I'll tell you why. Now let's check it out. Let's go to verse. Finally, okay, the other disciples, okay, who had reached the tomb first. That's John. Also went inside, okay, he saw and believed. Wait a minute, he saw and believed? They still did not understand, it says over here from the scriptures, okay, that Jesus had to rise from the dead, okay? Now, why did he believe? Just because they didn't see the body doesn't mean that he was risen from the dead. Okay? Remember that Mary thought that, okay, all right, somebody took him. Well, they're taking my Lord, and I don't know where they placed him. Okay? She said to a person that she thought it was the gardener. I mean, remember, it was dark. Okay? Remember, it was dark. It was very dark. Let's go to that. Let's go to that first verse or second verse where it says it was dark, okay? Oh, but he was in another form, so Mary didn't recognize him. No, it was dark. Okay? Dark. Go into a closet with pitch darkness, okay? See if you can see somebody's face. That's how it was. They didn't have any traffic lights or any lights, okay? Is that what I'm saying? No lights and stuff like that hanging around? No, no. It says over here, early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark. It says over here, Mary Magdalene, okay, went to the tomb. Not memorial tomb, by the way, okay? It was still dark. It's not that he was in another form. It was dark. She couldn't see his face, and she was weeping and stuff like that. Also, he was, let's check this out from, I think because, wasn't it, well, we could check that out later. But doesn't Isaiah 52 say that he was marred in such a way that they couldn't recognize him? I mean, his form was, I mean, his face. It was battered. It was spat upon. I mean, I wouldn't do that much, right? I mean, thorns were placed on his head. I mean, his beard was plucked. So that was plucked. He was beaten. Why do you strike me? He said to someone, if I do well, if I do evil, bear witness of the evil. But if I do well, why do you strike me? So he was smacked around. Let's just face it. And she was weeping. She was crying. I mean, she probably had her head down saying this. And it was dark anyway. It says dark over here. That's what I'm saying? Let's look at the Greek word for dark, though. Okay? While it was yet dark. Let's check that out. Okay? This idea. You know what I mean? Let's get out of, okay, let's go to, let's get out of Markon and go to, Ioannin. Okay? So, let's go to, is that chapter 20, though? Because that's chapter 20, Kappa. So let's go to, well, no, it's right there. Why am I scrolling too much? Te de, okay, miaton, sabaton, and that's in the plural, sabaton, actually, a Sabbath. Okay, Mariah. It says over here Mariah, and that's Mary in Greek, Mariah. Incidentally, let me state this for our Catholic friends, okay? You know what I'm saying? Is worshiping Mary to the hill. I mean, I love you guys, but I was Catholic too. I was in that trap, okay? That's the Greek P again. Mariah is only mentioned 27 times in the Greek New Testament. 27 times compared to Jesus' 917 times. And I know it's not all for him, but it's not all for her also. So it's even less, okay? For Mary, and don't give it this, alte and all of these third person personal pronouns and all of these things, okay? Because it says the same could be said for Jesus having pronouns referring back to him. You understand what I'm saying? So this idea, I mean, and Basilisa, okay, for queen, it doesn't appear for Mariah anywhere with Mariah anywhere in the Greek New Testament or in the Old, by the way. Doesn't say she's the queen, Mariah. Doesn't say that anywhere, Basilisa. That's the word for queen. You see that recorded around verse 40, the queen of the south, I believe, rising up and condemning this generation. You know what I'm saying? Chapter 12 of the Gospel Matthew. So say that to our Catholic friends. Okay? Now, let's read this again. It says, te de mia. Aton Sabaton, actually, Mariah. Hey, Magdalene, actually it'll be Magdalene, okay, in modern Greek. Erchetai, came, okay, says over here, proi, okay, that's separate. That's the diuresis right there over the iota, proi is not a diphthong. Look at that. Skytias. That's the genitive of time, as a matter of fact, though. That's the genitive of time. The same thing found and recorded, okay, where Jesus came, Nicodemus came to Jesus, what? By night. It's a genitive of time, by night, okay? Skatias, actually, skatias. That's the genitive of time there. Spell out sigma, kappa, omicron, nowadays called omicron, tau, nowadays called tough. Like, I'm tough, man. Iota, alpha, final sigma. Don't forget the acute marker pointing to 7 o'clock, okay? Telling you to raise the pronunciation of that second syllable, okay? Scatias. Scatias. You know, like that, like almost an Italian would say it. Scatias. By night, okay? You know what I'm saying? So it was dark. Scatias is the Greek word for dark there. It was dark, okay? Okay, proi coming while it was yet dark. Okay, while it was yet dark. Okay, now I want to see something here. Let me just see something. Now, am I all the way here? No. Let me see here. Okay, so Magdalene, says over here genitive feminine singular. See, so I was right, because I just want to make sure that I got it right, because to me that looks like a genitive construction. And one of the uses is the genitive of time. Okay, so it's not just if you poke the bear here. Okay, if you poke the bear, if you give him a good poke, okay, it says over here genitive. Yeah, but the genitive of what though? I mean, you know how many uses in the genitive case is the richest of the cases. It's the most richest of the cases. I'm forgetting my English here in the Philippines. You know what I'm saying? Having relocated to the Philippines 3 years ago, okay, to my chagrin sometimes, okay, and so that's just the deal. And so, I'm forgetting my English though. But genitive of time, that's a genitive of time, okay, night, okay, not in the day, but in the night, the genitive of time. It's not the genitive of place. It's not the genitive of possession. It's not the genitive of a relationship, okay, okay, Jesus the Mary or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? Ha Mariah. And I mean, is that the adverbial genitive or something like that, or is a genitive of time. That fits that use. Okay? That's what you do. What category does it fit? So the genitive of time. So it's dark. The genitive, It was dark. Genitive of time. So tell that to the witnesses. The same thing found and recorded around verse 2 of the same very gospel. The same gospel. Okay. John chapter 3 verse 2, around there. Nicodemus came to Jesus by night. You understand what I mean? All right. So it looks like disturbed close to me. Let's go back to back to verse 7 is where you see this very much disturbed. But what was disturbed? I want to check. I mean, what was the napkin or something like that was disturbed, right? So this is just, it says over here, and the, okay, Sudarian, okay, Sudarian, I mean, it's, and the Sudarian and the, okay, that's in the neuter, okay, construction, and the Ta Sudarian, okay, Sudarian, okay, I mean, okay, which, and that's ha, a relative pronoun, like I said before, from Haas, for the Haas paradigm, was, and that's Greek word aid in the imperfect tense, okay, third person, upon, okay, epi, preposition, and that's a genitive of place, probably, epi, Taste, that's a genitive right there. Taste. Upon the head, kephales, isn't a genitive. Okay, a singular, obviously, of him, of Jesus. Okay. Not, and that's the one of the Greek negatives. Okay, lo will be in the Hebrew side of things. Okay, lo. This is u. They also have may outside of the indicative, right? With okay meta, and I can take the genitive or the accusative. Okay, over here is the genitive plural. Ton athanion, athanion, athanion. Linen, okay, kemenon, okay, kemenon, okay, linen, but by itself, okay, but by itself, says over here, having been found up in, having been folded up in, okay, all right, a Hannah, okay, Hannah, a place, okay, place. Okay, understand what I'm saying? Okay, this is an adjective, Hannah. This is not an article, by the way, okay? Just in case you're confusing it with the enas mia ena paradigm in modern Greek. Okay, there is no such paradigm for biblical Greek. There is no indefinite article for biblical Greek. Okay. Incidentally, why wasn't this used, okay, to describe logos? A, okay, I mean, it's what? Hannah, epsilon with a rough breathing and the acute marker, nu, and alpha. Why was Hannah not used as an adjective? But he wasn't a god, right? Or even haste. Is that what I'm saying? Because he's not a god. Incidentally, chapter 9 of Luke proves that he wasn't a god with a small g. You understand what I'm saying? And actually, Matthew chapter 17, in conjunction with Luke chapter 9, they prove altogether that he wasn't a god, small g. Why? Well, the Greek word for transform, okay, I mean, this is a different word in Luke. I mean, Luke was speaking, you know, he was a Greek, he was speaking to the Gentiles. And he knew if he used that Greek word, okay, he was given, you know, he was commanded to write, you know, these things, right? But if he didn't use the Greek word, the Holy Spirit didn't allow him to use the Greek word because they would have thought that Luke was saying that he transformed himself into a god. That's in Vine's Complete Expository Dictionary of Old and New Testament words when they're talking about the what. You know what I'm saying? It's very poignant. It's very clear that the word transform and altered are two different things. And so, you know, Matthew uses the word transform because he was talking to the Jews, okay? He was writing to the Jews, okay? And is that what I'm saying? The king, you know, kingdom of heaven, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Chapter 17. So, the Mount of Transfiguration. So, and incidentally, I was making a study. I didn't make a study yet, but I gave the study to my stepson. He said, Papa, tell me a story. And he's 8 years old. I mean, you know, come on. But anyway, I told him a story about 5 mountain accounts in the Bible. I had a struggle. Okay. Well, you know the ark resting upon a mountain, right? Arid mountains, right? And then you have Mount Moriah, right? Abraham, Isaac, you know the deal. And then Moses, okay, top of a mountain, right? Is that what I'm saying? And then you have Jesus being transformed. Okay, that's number 4. What was number 5? I forgot what was number 5 though. Another mount. Oh, Jonah in the belly of the whale passing the mountains underwater. So, I mean, those are the mountain stories. And I'm going to see if I could do garden variety. You know, a variety of studies according to gardens. You know, like you know, the garden of the where the tomb was in. Stuff could be like that. Gethsemane. That's another. That's not really garden, right? Gethsemane. I mean, you know, but not really garden. But I mean, was it a garden? Gethsemane? I got to check that out. And then, of course, you got the Garden of Eden, and you got other gardens and stuff like that. You know, following Ezekiel, whatever the case may be. So I got to check that out. So I mean, you could do garden accounts. You know, I did mountain accounts already, and it's probably other mountain stories. You know, Mount of Olives. You know, he has to touch that in his second return. So that could be number 6. Getting back to the mountain side of things. You know what I'm saying?
Ice cream, man.
Huh?
Ice cream.
Oh, I can't go over there and get ice cream.
That's you if you want.
Oh, give me a 5. Give me a 5. My wife is asking me for if I want ice cream to calm down my pain. Okay, you understand? But I know this study is too long, guys. I understand, but this is delicious. Now, why doesn't the NIV? Now, why? Now, let me get back to this though. Okay. Usually the NIV and the NASB are using the most ancient authorities. Okay. Now, I would have loved to have seen, okay, a New Testament Greek manuscript volume of the Gospel of John at this point, and see the variant readings on one page. Okay. Because this seems to say more than the NIV, okay, says. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you go back to verse 7 of NIV, it doesn't say all this, but that. I mean, you know, this is more fuller, if you want to call it. Having been folded up. I mean, that's ente to ligmenon. I mean, you know, that's a mouthful right there. It's a 10-cent word. You understand what I'm saying? In the perfect tense. No reduplicating consonant there. Shucks. You know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey guys, so let me eat my ice cream and we'll go to part 2 of this fascinating study, okay? Because this is kind of too long for you guys anyway. And you hear the ice cream guy, you know? It's the same thing in the Philippines. Now, you know what I miss? I miss that, you know, that guy that goes around. I miss that, though. Is Daniel Quinones giving glory to God the Father, to the Lord Jesus Christ, and in the Holy Spirit. God is not the God of the Necron, but of the living. And that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are very much alive now. That really refers to them being alive at the time of Jesus, but they're alive now. And outside of that, that means, I mean, you know, obviously that they didn't come back when Joseph Franklin Reynolds said, hey, we're going to come back. I didn't. Best Reem, I mean, my ice cream is melting, guys. I mean, I didn't even have it for 2 minutes. It's already melting my hand, guys. It's like M&M's. It's the opposite of that, by the way. So, I mean, I better go. But they didn't come back like, you know, millions now living will never die predicted. Okay, around page 88 or 89. Okay, guys, well, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up, and please leave a comment, okay, on the screen. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate you.